All right, guys. Our next guest is a UFC light heavyweight who is some of the best wrestling in the division. He loves pancakes, and he will be fighting over in St. Preux on April 18th, 2015 at UFC on Fox 15. Returning to the show is none other than Pat Cummins. Pat, it's been a long time. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good other than the fact that I missed you guys, and we don't do this often enough.
I know. There's been a huge void in our lives that we're hoping to fill today by having you back on the show.
Well, I'm glad it's the same on your end.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put myself out there.
And have us not reciprocate. Well, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we haven't been cheating on you with other UFC guests and stars, Pat. It's just, they make us do this. We just want to do a Pat Cummins show where we just have you for all 4 segments. But for some reason, the producers just won't let us do it, those bastards. Now, before we start talking... Yeah, that's it. So before we start talking about your next fight, Pat, I just want to have a chat with you a little bit about your fight in Brazil. It was pretty crazy. You put on a great show, and I think you even won over some of those crazy Brazilian fans. What was your experience like fighting in Brazil?
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you say that because I was expecting to come in there and get some hate, and I was kind of like preparing myself to fuel the fire from that. Just be like, whatever. I want to hear the boos, and it's going to pump me up. But even at the weigh-in, it was kind of like a little mixed. It wasn't some of the guys that were really throwing hard, and then when I came out, it was a little mixed, and I was just like, wow, I was expecting much worse, and I was actually hoping for much worse. But then after the fight, everybody was so friendly. I think I made some Brazilian fans, and it was a great experience too.
What about after the fight? I mean, I'm sure you were celebrating at the party after the event. Did you get anyone acting sassy to you, during your celebrations, Pat? Any sassy Brazilians?
That was sassy Brazilians. But what I will say is Carlos Antonio, the guy that I fought, his brother pulled me aside in the crowd while I was walking back to the locker room and congratulated me. I talked to him for a couple minutes.
Wow.
I mean, he wasn't sassy, but he was. It was just like, wow, what a really good dude, and both of them. So it was really that was cool too. That was a cool experience for me.
Good to see he wasn't trying to hold you up so that one of his friends was like to try and stab you or anything like that. Now, your first few fights.
Well, you know what? The after party wasn't all there either because I think I ended up fighting at like 2:30 in the morning on Brazil time. So we didn't get back to the hotel till like 5, and by then, it's bedtime for this guy.
You had to go to one of those all-night Brazilian raves. Now, your first few fights in the UFC, they came very close to each other, and you said that you wanted to make up for lost time. How did it feel before your last fight to have a 6-month break? Did you go a bit stir-crazy, or did you enjoy the rest?
No, I didn't. I don't think my break was that long. I can't remember what it was. But no, it felt okay. I was able to train a bunch and kind of, sand down some rough spots and get my game back to where I needed to be. And so I'm mellowing out a little bit. I don't need to go too much. But at the same time, I still am hungry for that experience, and I'll get in the cage anytime.
Well, different fighters do different things between fights, I'm not taking any shots, but Johnny Hendricks has been very vocal how he wants to live his life and he can't always, stay in the gym. How active have you been in between fights in terms of training and improving as a fighter?
Pretty active. I also like my time out of the gym, but I think that's good for me. I'm not one of these guys that just wants to go pound a bunch of cheeseburgers and, go to the movies and just kind of like live my life like that. I'm pretty active. I love to ride my mountain bike, and I can't help it. I actually end up losing weight when I'm not in the gym. So
wow.
I think it's good for me. It's good to get a little break, a little disconnect from that, and just kind of like relax a minute and then crank it back up for your next camp.
Hey, Pat, in training, we've seen that much like GSP, you do a lot of gymnastics. Apart from doing impressive backflips after you're done burning someone in a verbal confrontation, how does this help you when it comes to fight time?
Gymnastics is it's also one of those. It's kind of a break from the gym. There's so often you're crushing weights and you're just grinding it out in the gym, and you want to break. So part of it is like you need that mental break, and you don't really realize you're working hard in there because it's so much fun. I'm flying around and jumping off trampolines and landing in a foam pit, whatever it is. So it's fun, but at the same time it is difficult, and it works your body in a different way. And I also think it really helps with your spatial awareness. When you're flying through the air, and you can spot your landing and whatever, it kind of helps you be aware of things around you. I think that translates over to MMA.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously gymnasts are incredibly strong, and thus far you've been extremely dominant inside the cage. So far, have you felt any opponent match or come close to matching your strength in the cage?
No, not. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep the fight in my realm of strength. So when the fight's on the ground, when I'm on top of somebody, of course I feel incredibly strong. And when someone's on the back, it's tough to feel like, oh wow, this guy's really strong, or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. But I know when I fought DC, I just felt like, wow, his hips are super strong. There was no way I was getting close to the takedown attempts that I had. There's no way I was getting close to the takedown. So he's powerful in his own right, of course.
Yeah, apparently he likes cake and chicken as well. Now, every time we speak about you, Pat, on the show after your fights, me and Casper are always going, we want to see him have a big step up in competition. We want to see Pat get another big guy. And now you have OSP. He's a well-known guy, a tough dude in there in the division. Everybody knows who he is. How did this match come together, and how excited are you to fight OSP?
Yeah, this is all along. I've always said, I just want to keep getting better, keep fighting better guys, and keep moving up the ladder. And yeah, I got what I asked for, which was awesome. And they came to us with Joe Silva came to us with the proposition, and immediately we jumped on it. So the fight happened in a couple hours.
Well,
so I was pretty excited about it.
The interesting thing about it is you guys obviously both have strong wrestling and grappling, styles. Who do you think has the grappling advantage, and do you think that the grappling might get cancelled out in the fight and we may see a stand-up battle?
Of course, I feel like my grappling's better than everyone's. But no, I've been watching film on him. He's dangerous in a couple places, but no, I feel like that's going to be my strong suit, and it may in fact be on a more of a stand-up battle, but I'm preparing for every situation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of preparing, striking is something that you've told us you've really wanted to work on. How has your striking been coming along in training, and will you be looking to displace some of it on April 18th against OSP?
Yeah, absolutely. My coaches my striking coaches are pretty awesome. They're really great at implementing my style with their skills and their techniques. So my Muay Thai coach, his name is Mel Minor. He's a world champion. He's a little guy, but he's a world champion. So his technique is really, really on point. And he understands me as an athlete, and I think that's really important too. And my boxing coach is the same way, Danny Perez. He's really, really good at, he recognizes that there's really no room in MMA for pure boxing technique. So it needs to be blended. It has to be some type of hybrid, and he's been great with that. And yeah. Every time I get in there, I want to. That's the area that I want to improve in. I want to win the fight first and foremost, but yeah, I definitely want to showcase what I can do on my feet.
And April 18th, and it's going to be a great time to do it. OSP obviously recently knocked out Shogun. It's a pretty brutal knockout. Is OSP striking of any concern to you?
Yeah, of course. He's a long, explosive guy, and that I would say striking is his strength. So there's a couple things I'm gonna be careful of and kind of maneuver around. But at the end of the day, I'm more concerned with what I'm gonna do, how I see the fight going, where I want to take the fight, and I recognize that there's threats, but at the end of the day, it's about me.
Obviously, OSP such a talented athlete, so much natural length in him. Without giving us the game plan, because we don't want OSP to listen to this and then mess up the fight, and it's all your buddy Submission Radio's fault. But just give us a couple of keys. What do you think are a couple of keys to victory against a man like OSP?
I think he's very left side dominant. So he throws kicks and knees with his left, and of course that straight right hand you expect from a southpaw coming down the center. So obviously I want to be aware of that, and just I also think that he's not at my level when it comes to conditioning. So if I can push the fight, really bring it to him, I think I'll be in good shape no matter what.
Now, Pat, you made some headlines recently when you said that you'd like to see you and OSP do random WADA PD testing going into the fight. What was your motivation behind that?
Right. Well, it wasn't. I would have called this guy out. I think he's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It was more just. I think we as athletes need to step up and kind of take responsibility and say, hey, listen, we're not. We're willing to do whatever it takes to clean up the sport a little bit. All the recent bad media, with guys testing positive and things like that. I just think it's not good for the sport. And I'm in the UFC. I represent them, and I want to make sure I do that in the best possible way. And I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, for sure, Pat. We just want to catch your reaction on this. We've spoken to a few fighters about it. Everybody, Casper compared it to kids finding out Santa Claus isn't real. What did you think when you heard that Anderson Silva did test positive for steroids? And also, give us your thoughts about the new sanctions the UFC are talking about with giving guys 2 to 4 years suspensions for the first-time PED offenses. Do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. My reaction, because you don't think of. You think of Anderson Silva as a very fluid, great striker, just and just an incredible athlete. And I just think, wow, this guy doesn't need that. But at the same time, he's coming off a horrible, horrible injury. I know a lot of people put a lot of stock into, when it comes to getting better, rehabbing an injury. That can be the quickest way to do it. So, I kind of understand, but also I think. You got to come. If you did something wrong, you should admit to it. So, I don't know. That's my thought on it. But as far as the, couple year suspensions and things like that, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it may be harsh for some people, but in all reality. It should, this sport should be clean. Martial arts to me isn't, it's not a sport where, that should be, people should be using drugs and really trying to, cheat. I think it's just, I don't know. It's just, I guess I hold the sport of MMA a little too high in that regard, but I'm looking. Whatever they decide to do, I'm behind it 100% because I don't have a care when it comes to that. I'll take a drug test anytime and I'll always pass it.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting that you mentioned that stuff about Anderson because me and Casper were talking on one episode about the whole situation. And I think the thing that we spoke about that bothered us most was, the fact that he denies it all. Now, we don't know whether or not it truly happened, but it looks like the tests show that it did. I guess we discussed the fact that if it's true and he really did do it, it'd be great if he could just come out and discuss it openly and explain he made a mistake rather than deny it. That's probably one of the aspects that's a bit difficult about it, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime, I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and I've, just from experience, that when you come clean and you admit to what you do, it makes things a lot easier. People tend to respect that, and nobody's perfect, and everybody makes a mistake, so it just takes a little, you just kind of man up and say, okay, hey, I screwed up. And just ask for forgiveness, I guess.
It's definitely going to be interesting. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens with this whole 2 and 4 year suspensions thing. I just want to switch topics. Go back to your division. Recently, one of your favorite guys in the world, Daniel Cormier, fought Jon Jones for the belt. Did you watch the fight, and what did you think of the fight in general? What did you think of Daniel Cormier's performance?
I did, yeah. I watched the fight. I was actually a little shocked because I thought Daniel could win the fight, and I thought that his wrestling would be a lot more dominant. But so I was a little surprised. But at the same time, I saw, when he was attempting those takedowns and wasn't getting them, I could see where that's going to tire a guy out. And as soon as it came to the 4th and 5th rounds, and that's a place that he's never been, and Jon Jones has been there, I don't know how many times, 8, 9 times now. So he knows that area really better than anybody else. So at that point, I kind of thought, well, that could be a wrap. But yeah, it was a good fight. I don't think Daniel showed as well as he could have. I have a lot of respect for him as an athlete, and it'll be interesting to see what happens from this point on.
Yeah, Pat, Jones is certainly an impressive challenge. And here we go. If you beat OSP decisively and have another big win, you may very well be in the title picture against Jones. Just wondering, how would you tackle the Jon Jones puzzle, and where would you hold an advantage over Bones, in your opinion?
I think I would really want to push him. I'd want to push that pace, and I think Alexander Gustafsson did a great job with kind of nullifying his range and distance by getting close to him, staying in his face as much as possible, and really using his boxing more than anything else. Because I think Jones is obviously, he's very creative, and he can adapt to a lot of different situations. But I think his strong suit on his feet is his range and using his kicks effectively. But I think if you make it a little more of a boxing match, make it a little ugly, I think there's room for me to score some points in there.
Very interesting. It'll be great to see if that fight does happen. Now, Pat, we're going to do probably your favorite thing in the world, the Submission Radio Tap Out round. Bunch of fun questions. We fire them off at you, and you answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I've been waiting for this the whole time.
Yes. All right. We saw a bit. Yeah, it's like enough of the
filler,
the standard.
The filler
it's all about the
round.
tap out round. Yeah. Here's the main course. We saw Michael Bisping gave you a nice present early this month when he gave you a bit of a shine accidentally with his thumb. Tell us, how did this all happen?
It was just one of those little accidental things in training. I've been working on my head movement a lot, and so I was slipping a punch, and I slipped a punch, but the thumb got me. And Mike's funny because every time in the gym, he's that guy that he's had some serious eye injuries, so he's always like, fingers closed, everybody, on MMA day. Fingers closed, everyone. Fingers closed. I don't want anyone poking me in the eye. And then, of course, he's the one to do it to me.
Yeah.
But, he's such a good guy. He's such a great guy to have in the training room. So, I'll let a couple of those slide.
Yeah, well, these thumb pokes, Pat, it's a bit early to start getting ready for your Jon Jones fight. Okay, so going on to the next question. We see by your Twitter that you're a bit of a mountain biker. Tell us, what's your favorite place to ride and why?
My favorite place to ride, that's a tough question. I have a couple, but I really like, there's a place called the San Clemente Single Track, and it's basically just right next to the Marine base down as you go towards San Diego, and it started off as a bunch of trails that were kind of built illegally, and then the county came in and opened it up for everyone to use. So that's I would say that's probably one of my favorites. And I just did this the other day. It's called the San Juan Trail. It's a really highly rated Southern California trail, but I only do it every once in a while because it's a bear of a workout. It's about 3,000 feet elevation gain.
Wow.
And it's about a 20 mile excursion.
Jesus. Yeah, it's
So
definitely...
I can't, during training camp I can't do that, but I can fit it in where I can.
I like the sound of the one near the Marine base. It sounds like the Fight Club of like mountain biking. Like you go there, you don't talk about it. First rule. Next question is: will berets make a comeback in 2015 as the ultimate fashion accessory?
Absolutely, and I feel like I could be the poster boy for that.
The forefront of the beret movement, Pat Cummins.
Yeah,
Well,
why not?
You look great at the weigh-ins. I think you got to keep it on the scale there when you do the weigh-in. That's the key. Now, there's a couple of other famous people by the name of Pat Cummins. One is an NBA player, and the other one is a Aussie cricketer. Believe it or not, what is it about the Cummins? Yeah, that's right. There's an Aussie cricketer. He's very popular. What is it about the Cummins name that brings such greatness?
Well, where do I even begin? No, I don't know. You know what? I just recently somebody said they brought the Australian cricketer. I guess he's a pretty famous guy, and they said every time we search for you, this other guy is above you.
Yeah,
I was like, really? So I feel like I at some point I need to hang out with this guy. I have some type of conversation. Maybe we are related, but no, I think he's also very handsome, and that's also it's not just the athletic ability. I think it's the good looks really shine through as well, and maybe the personality too.
When you say that you have to hang out with him, I feel like it's that movie The One with Jet Li, where there's all those other Jet Lis, and it's like every time he kills one of them, he becomes stronger. So just
gonna annihilate all the other Pat Cumminses.
Yeah,
you want to be number one on that list, Pat. Let's not lie, all right?
Yeah, we're gonna hang out.
Yeah, hang out, inverted commas. Pat, when is Pat Cummins growing out a nice mustache?
Ooh, I had a pretty burly beard. I probably just got rid of it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. But
I was thinking about hanging on to the mustache, but I don't know. I feel like I need to do something different. I need to be a little more avant-garde. Maybe that's where the beret fits in. Not so much in the facial hair, it's the headwear.
Yep.
Now, Pat, explain this to us. What is it that motivates a UFC contender such as yourself to give someone a DVD of Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse as a gift?
I mean, where isn't the motivation there?
Well, I guess it's settled then.
I just feel like there's such great action, and there's so much. There's so many epic quotes. For example, my favorite is "Pain don't hurt." I think that can be applied to MMA in just about every way.
Well, we'll be expecting at least one or maybe 15 of those quotes in your Joe Rogan post-fight speech.
All right, that sounds good. I can deliver on that.
Now we want the truth, Pat. All right, the ultimate truth. You or Cub Swanson, who really catches the biggest fish?
I'll tell you the truth. He pulled in a monster fish. I couldn't even compete with it. So he won that, but I think I caught more. So depending on, I think my weight total outdid his, but he got me for the big guy.
Yeah, that's right. It reminds me of like when we used to be single. Used to go out and there'd always be a guy that gets a good-looking girl, and then there'd be a guy that gets a lot of girls. They may not be the best, but it's always the question: substance versus capacity. How many you get as what they look like. It'll be debated for many years. It's been debated by the Greek gods for many years. Now, finally, Pat, we want to get the prediction. We want to get the official prediction from you. How is Pat Cummins beating OSP at UFC on Fox 15 on April 18th? Give it to us.
Well, I am sick and tired of decisions. I've had two in a row, and those are the only two that I've had. So I need a stoppage, and I'll be getting it any way possible. So don't look for a 3-round war from me.
Well, there you go. We'll definitely be watching UFC on Fox 15, April 18th. And obviously, don't forget to follow Pat Cummins on Twitter at @officialdurkin. We'll see him kick some ass at UFC on Fox 15. Pat, as always, absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's do this more often.
Yeah, absolutely.